Hello everyone, Clock for Game here. I just thought I'd bring you a bit of a double feature video here, a quick deck profile and then a rundown of BCS Manchester. And this was the Itsuki deck that I took to BCS Manchester. I had an absolute blast of a time. I think I say it after all my videos, but my goodness, the Weiss and I think the Bushy Road community in general is such a wonderful community. I've never really had any bad interactions with people. It's just so fun. The reason I'm bringing you another Itsuki deck profile is because, as you probably know, Itsuki is my favourite deck, or at least one of my favourite decks, and she's my best girl in all of anime. I just really, really like her. She's certainly my favourite Quint. There's very few and far between Itsuki lovers, but I love her nonetheless. And it was wonderful to be able to use this deck finally in a BCS, because a lot of the BCSs previously, like for example with Barcelona and with Austria, you're not allowed to use some Quint sets because of, I believe, because of licensing issues. So it makes it quite difficult to use these cards at times. Or to build the decks at times, should I say. However, Manchester was the first time I was able to properly use Itsuki and properly utilise her. I changed the build up a bit from, I think, previous videos. And without further ado, we'll get into the deck profile. So firstly, you run one copy of your Itsuki mascot. That's a must. She was my best friend throughout the day. You obviously run your suite of 8 door climaxes. If you want to enter a secret phase called the DQ phase, you can run 9 climaxes. You run 4 copies of the Ricky, and if you use an act, it gains 1 soul. This card was extremely handy at every part of the game, not only for searching out the level 1 or lower things that you needed, so for example your level 1 combos or your hand size pieces, but also even later game just for pushing damage. A very nice combo is use this with this, tap this, give something 2000 power when you're at level 1 if you've got a 3 or higher in your level, and then give this power and it gains a soul as well. Very, very handy. We've got your Brainstorm, which is +1 hand size as well. We've got your utility card, which is also +1 hand size. It's also got the pay 1 and tap itself to give something on reverse salvage. Very, very handy, especially for getting your level 3 pieces back into your hand, or recycling your level 1 pieces, because this deck does like to recycle its level 1 because its mid-game isn't too hot. So you do want to just make sure that you've got consistent characters just to throw down and hit. It also helps you up your hand size for your level 3 combo as well, because you do ditch from that. Got your 2 helmets. This is just very, very, very nice. It's just quite nice. It's a level swapper as well, so if you are ever in the unfortunate situation where you don't have a level 3 or you don't have experience high enough in your level, you can use this card to swap something out from your waiting room. Very, very handy. And we've got the climax swappers. It's just a bog standard climax swapper. Pay 1, ditch your climax, salvage your climax. It also has the effect of when it's placed on stage, you can take a card from your hand and put it into your stock. So this helps you filter out any extra climaxes that you don't need, and then immediately be able to pay them out with, say, the pay 1 tap Ricky, not the Ricky, the pay 1 tap salvage card, or gets you an extra Brainstorm. We've got another type of Ricky that was very, very handy. So when it's placed on the stage, you can clock a card from your hand to be able to look at cards from the top of your deck and add any card up to the amount of characters you got, barring this one, so not including this one. It's also got the effect of if your opponent plays a climax, you can send it to stock, sorry. So it's nice stock generation. This was very handy. And then last but not least, for the zeros, you've got your level 0 killer that is a on death when it hits the waiting room. Excuse me. When it hits the waiting room, you can ditch a card, look up to top 4 cards of your deck, and add a level 1 or lower character, level 1 or higher, sorry, level 1 or higher character. So it helps you get your level 1 combos, it helps you get your level 2 searcher if you need it, or your level 3 finisher. Then we have 4 copies. Let me put the shiny to the front. We've got the 4 copies of the level 1 combo. I love this combo. It gives you a hell of a lot of deck speed. It gains 1,500 when an act is used, so that's on your opponent's turn too. So if you back this up, it'll gain an additional 1/5, and so will all other copies of itself on the field. It's also a ditch. Ditch a card, helps you filter out. Climax combo is ditch a card. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and any of the event or any... Sorry, this kid's screaming on the street. If there's any events or any quintuplets characters, you can add them all to hand. I believe it's quintuplets characters, or is it... Yeah, all quintuplets characters to hand. Again, very handy for searching out your level 3 combo. Only word of caution is, if you've still got a lot of climaxes in deck, just be careful using this card. You might not want to check all of the top 3, just in case you hit some climaxes. Although the very useful thing about this card is if you do hit a climax, you can just simply filter it out by ditching it to the waiting room because it's not a character. So all is not lost, it's not stuck in your hand. We've got this one. This is the Burger card. This is the honorary 5th copy of the Climax combo. You can, when it's played, you can send a card to your waiting room and search out a Budding Trust Itsuki, which is a level 1 combo. And also on play, you can pay 1, mill 2 cards from the top of your deck and salvage the level. Very, very, very handy. This is your beat stick. If you use an act, it gains a load of power, and it also gains the ability of, when it attacks, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is level 1 or higher, put it into your stock so it does generate some nice stock, and it's a beat stick. This is your twin drive, and it's also a level 1 killer, so if there's some pesky level 1s out, for example, if your opponent needs a full board for something to go off, you can get rid of one of the level 1s. It's also just very handy to have, say, 2 copies of your Climax level 1 out, and then have this out just in case you do hit a Climax on any of your level 1 combos on the attack that you can't pay out of stock. This is also especially handy if you are nearing the end of your deck and you hit a Climax. You can twin drive with this and pay it out, which is very, very handy. And then you've got 2 just 1,000 backups, just free 1,000 backups from the trial deck. I do run a quite, well, not a lot, but a number of backups, just because you always want a free backup in your hand, because all of your things, or a lot of your things, will gain power as well as the backup when an act is used. Very handy. This card was the absolute GOAT of the day. This is a 2/1 that gains a load of power if you've got experience level 5 or higher, and it's a clock kicker as well, or a clock swapper, should I say. So it sends your opponent's character to clock and then swaps it out, swaps the top card of their clock, should I say, with the character you've just killed. And you can pay 1, ditch 1, and search out a Climax. So if you're in a state where you've got no Climaxes in hand and you're trying to prepare for your level 3, you can play this just to search out a door Climax. It's just very, very, very handy. You've got the event, by the way. You can add this code word event from the level 1 combo as well. And this is just simply, when it's played, salvage an Itsuki character, then mill the top card of your deck. If that's also an Itsuki character, salvage again. I like running 1 copy of this. I very, very much like it. It didn't always come up to be useful, but it just helped in quite a few games, actually. I think in 2 out of 7 of the games, I think it did get me back my level 3 combos from waiting room. It's just very handy. Then you've got your anti-level backup. That's it. It's just an anti-level backup. And then you've got your 1 copy of On Reverse Memory Kick. So that can be useful for dealing with some, early plays and things, especially things like Nikke's Alice. It's primarily there for that. So, level 3s, we've got your finisher. I love this finisher. It digs. So when it's played, you can look at the top 3 and add any card. Very, very handy for getting your climax if you don't have it in hand. It's also on attack. If the climax is in the climax zone, you can ditch 3 to burn 3 to your opponent, and then you look at the top 2 cards of their deck and can ditch or leave them on the top in any order. It's very, very wonderful if you burn 3 and it sticks, and then you hit 2 climaxes off the top of their deck. It's very nice because you can discard them both. I love this finisher so much. Anyway, we've got 3 copies of the early play. This is the early play with the condition that is if you've got 2 or less climaxes in waiting room, it gets -1 level in hand. Also heals on play as well. That was just very, very handy. Then we've got 2 copies of the other early play. This is if you've got 5 or more characters, it gains, or 4 or more characters, sorry, it gains -1 level in hand, and it heals. And a mandatory effect, you have to choose something on your opponent's side of the field, and it can't be reversed that turn or next turn. So that can be useful as a bit of a toolbox, but more often than not, you're going to be choosing their Brainstorm on the back row just because it's a mandatory effect. And then another copy of an early play that is a bounce early play. You can bounce 2 cards with this. I really like this card, although it didn't come up very much. Primarily you use this for bouncing problem cards or top 3 of your own deck and rearrange in any order. So that's just quite nice. This gets -1 level in hand if your opponent has a level 3 or higher card. So if they've got a card out that is an early play, that becomes an early play as well. It's just quite nice. So going through a quick rundown of the Manchester BCS. My goodness, Manchester BCS was absolutely wonderful. I'll start with a quick rundown of Hololive. I lost 3 rounds and dropped. I wasn't there to have any sort of competitive scene for Hololive. I was just there to have fun and have some fun games. And I certainly had some fun games. But with the Schwarz side of it, I actually did the best I'd ever done in a tournament, and I am really chuffed. Really, really chuffed. I thought I had done well in Barcelona, going 4-3, I believe it was. But this time I went 5-2. And my goodness, I was very, very pleased with that. So round 1 was Nikke Bunnies build. If you don't know what the Bunnies build is, it's a very strange build that everything becomes a shot trigger, and if you let them get going, you can really eat some damage. And unfortunately in that game, it was just one of those games where I just went straight to level 2. My opponent just had the game from the get-go. It was just unfortunate that my deck, I don't know, I just couldn't recover from it. I think I did well. I got him to level 3 eventually, but I went literally straight from level 0 right through to about 2-3 by the end of my second turn. It just wasn't good. Everything stuck. And in true 8-bar fashion from the Bunnies side, he always had a climax in hand. So that was just unfortunate. Round 2 was against an Ichika player, so this was a Quints off. It was a very good game. It was someone who sometimes comes to my locals. And it was just a very good game. I ended up winning that. There was nothing particularly special that happened. I don't think there was anything that particularly went wrong on his end. It's just that I was able to utilise my level 3s more. Well, I think the one thing that I will say that I think it was a little bit of a mistake that he made, or I thought he'd made, was he was running the Ichika combo that has 2 level 3 finishers, and he used what I thought was the wrong one, but he did explain to me after the game that he didn't have the climax in hand for his others. But I think I should have still used the other ones just to push damage, because I believe the other one heals as well. But that's by the by. You know, it was a good game. It was a very, very good game. But I won that one. Round 3 was another player from my locals, so you'll probably notice with the rundown of this that I might as well have just gone to locals, because I played 5 out of my 7 rounds against people I knew who were from my locals or come to my locals sometimes. So round 3 was Hololive. My goodness, I know this guy's deck a lot. I've played against him quite a lot in locals, and goodness me, I don't like the Hololive deck because I know full well he runs the rest counter, and I hate that rest counter with a passion. So I ended up beating him. I played around the rest counter. I really put my all into, siding, and then because with the Itsuki finisher, with the level 3 finisher here, you can side and still use your combo effect. It's not on on frontal attack. So I won that. I was able to burn him to death, and fair enough, I played around the backup, which then he did inform me that he didn't actually have the backup in hand. And even if he did, he couldn't use it anyway, because he didn't have enough characters in hand. That was unfortunate, but that was a win. Then again, went against a SpyxFamily. That was a win. That was, I believe, someone else from my locals as well. Oh no, it wasn't. No, it was 4 out of the 7 rounds, not 5. So I won against a SpyxFamily build that was just using the bog standard Fiona build, the one that swaps out, and I was just able to beat over things and just win kind of from that. That was it, really. There was nothing really special. There was nothing really special about that game. DanDanDan, that was round 5. Unfortunately, I lost that. That was a very close game. It was a very, very, very close game. And if I had another turn, I would have won, but I had the worst situation imaginable happen. So I refreshed with about a 25 card deck, maybe 28 card deck, and I had all 8 climaxes in there, and I had my level 3 set up for next turn, and I was thinking, oh no, I used my level 3 and he was on 3/5. I only needed to stick 2 damage, so it was a case of next turn just shoving my back row to the front, playing something out for a 3rd attack, and just pinging for 1. So I refresh in my turn with 8 climaxes in, so I am currently 3-1 at this point, and he uses his combo and kills me. And it turns out that the top 15 cards of my deck were clean, and all 8 climaxes were in the bottom, however many cards left, in the bottom 10 or 12 or 13 cards. That was devastating. That was absolutely devastating. But it is what it is. That was a very, very good game, though. It was a bit unfortunate that happened, but sometimes Weiss be like that. It is indeed a game of skill and RNG, and sometimes the RNG can just come and kick you in the stomach. Round 6 was a Frieren game. That was someone else from my locals. So the Frieren game, I ended up winning. It was I believe it was the finisher that can swap out. I think it was the trial deck finisher. Can't quite remember. Yes, I think it was a trial deck finisher. But it was a case that I just had the feeling that I had to rush. I had to rush at this point and just stick as much damage as possible, which is where I think the card that was the MVP of the day, other than the finisher, was this card. This card just helped me push so much extra damage. Just having that 1 or 2 extra damage was so handy. It was unreal. Then round 7 was another one of my locals players. Out of like 87, 88 players at Manchester, I went against mostly my locals players. So it was, like I said, 4 my locals players out of these 7 rounds. And that was a Nikke game. That was another Nikke game. That was the Modernia Biscuit build that spams Alice's out. But I was able to deal with his Alice's through this card here, this card just single-handedly won me the game, because it becomes bigger than Alice, especially with the back row, this card tapping and giving 2,000 power, and then also having the anti-level backup and the memory kick backup was just very, very handy. You just couldn't recover from that. Once I'd gotten rid of like maybe 2 of his Alices, he didn't have a great deal left, and he had to make a choice between, do I spend a load of resources salvaging my Alices again and playing them out, and that might be 3 or 4 stock paid out, to which he did, but then I was able to get rid of them again, unfortunately for him. And then he just, once that had happened, he'd run out of steam. He couldn't get his Modernias, not Modernias, he couldn't get his Biscuit combo off even if he wanted. He couldn't get his Alices back because they were either memory kicked or it cost him too much stock back. So he just had to keep trying to play level 1s, but at this point I'd already gained enough advantage to win him. And that was it. That was the end, and I was absolutely chuffed. I was bloody well chuffed that I got 5 wins in a 7-round tournament and came 16th overall. I was very, very, very happy to come in the top 16. Yes, I know it's not the top 8, but it's the best I've ever done, and I'm really, really proud of that. Hopefully, next time there'll be a top 8 in there, maybe. I think if I ever got to a top 8, I'd just be pleased to be there. Hopefully it will be with Itsuki. Well, anyway, thank you for watching this video and this breakdown of Manchester BCS. If you ever do get a chance to go to a BCS, do go to one, because if you've not been to one before, especially, because they are brilliant. The people there are so friendly. Oh man, just the Bushiroad community is a real blessing to be part of. Anyway, this video has gone on long enough now. I will catch you in the next video, and I'll try and be a little bit more active. I do have a couple of Losing Heroines decks to show off, so hopefully those videos will be in the or in the pipeline, sorry, in the next week or so. Anyway, thank you for watching my video, and God bless, and happy Easter.